I went to sleep alone on a Tuesday night, convinced the day had been like any other. Quiet, forgettable, safe. My apartment was dark except for the pale glow of the city filtering through the blinds. The rain tapped softly against the window, a familiar rhythm that usually lulled me into unconsciousness within minutes. I remember checking the time, 11:47 p.m., and thinking I should probably stop staying up so late. I never heard a noise. No crash. No hum of engines. No blinding light. I simply closed my eyes. And when I opened them again, I was no longer alone. At first, my mind tried to reject what I was seeing. That strange half-awake state convinced me it had to be a dream, an overactive imagination stitched together from stress and insomnia. My bedroom looked the same cracked ceiling, the same stack of unread books on the floor, the same dim blue light from the alarm clock. But beside me, occupying the space where no one had been before, lay something impossible. It was humanoid in shape, but not human. Its skin shimmered faintly, like moonlight reflected on water, shifting in subtle shades of silver and violet as it breathed. Its body was slender, elongated, with limbs just slightly too long to belong to my species. Where hair should have been, there was a smooth, translucent crest running along its scalp, pulsing softly in time with its breathing. And it was breathing. Slow. Controlled. Alive. I didn't scream. I couldn't. My throat locked as fear flooded my nervous system. My heart pounded so loudly, I was sure it would wake the thing beside me. Its eyes were closed. Thank God for that. I held my breath, barely daring to move. Every instinct screamed at me to run, to leap out of bed and bolt for the door. But terror rooted me in place. Whatever this was, it had somehow entered my locked apartment, crossed my bedroom, and climbed into my bed without waking me. That alone terrified me more than its appearance. The alien stirred. I flinched so hard my elbow knocked against the headboard. The sound echoed through the room like a gunshot. Its eyes snapped open. They were enormous, dark, reflective, filled with intelligence. Not glowing, not monstrous, just aware. We stared at each other. Neither of us moved. Then, in a voice soft and unfamiliar, yet unmistakably articulate, it spoke. "Please," it said. "Don't be afraid." That was when I finally screamed. I scrambled backward, tangling myself in the sheets and nearly falling off the bed. My back hit the wall, my chest heaving as adrenaline surged through my veins. "What are you?" I shouted, my voice cracking. The alien raised both hands slowly, palms open in a universal gesture of surrender. "I mean you no harm. I swear it by the Accord." "I don't know what that is," I yelled. "Get out of my house." Its expression shifted, not anger, not aggression, but something that looked unmistakably like fear. "I cannot," it said quietly. "Not yet." The next hour passed in fragments, shaking hands, half-formed threats, desperate attempts to call emergency services that mysteriously failed. My phone displayed no signal despite being fully charged. The internet was down. Even the radio emitted nothing but static. The alien explained, slowly and carefully, that this was intentional. "My name is Kale," it said, sitting cross-legged on the floor at my insistence. "I am an envoy of the Thurin Collective. I did not intend to frighten you." "You broke into my home," I said, "and got into my bed." "Yes," Kale replied. "That part did not go as planned." It explained that Earth had been under observation for decades, quietly monitored from afar. Humanity stood at a threshold, on the verge of either expanding peacefully into the galaxy or destroying itself through unchecked technological escalation. I, apparently, had been chosen as a contact anchor. Why me? I demanded. Kale hesitated. Because you are alone. And because your neural patterns showed resilience without aggression. That's the most insulting compliment I've ever received, I said. Despite everything, something about Kale's presence felt restrained. It didn't threaten me. It didn't try to control me. It seemed almost as frightened of making a mistake as I was of it being there. Still, fear lingered like a bruise. Kale explained the mishap. Its species traveled through localized space folds, emerging at pre-calculated coordinates. A slight misalignment, caused by Earth's electromagnetic interference, had resulted in Kale materializing several feet off target, directly into my bed. I assure you, it said solemnly, this is not how first contact is meant to occur. Over the next 2 days, my world shrank to the walls of my apartment. Kale could not leave. It explained that prolonged exposure without proper acclimation could destabilize human society and itself. A retrieval vessel was already en route, but it would take time. In the meantime, Kale was my guest. It learned quickly. It observed everything. The way I made coffee, the way I paced when anxious, the way I avoided mirrors when thinking too hard. In return, it answered my questions honestly. Its species did not sleep as humans did. It entered meditative stasis, resting its mind while remaining partially aware. It did not eat food but absorbed energy from ambient radiation and emotional resonance. Yes, Kale clarified gently. I can sense what you feel, not your thoughts, just the weight of them. That should have unsettled me. Instead, it made me feel strangely seen. We talked about Earth, about the stars, about the fear of being alone in an uncaring universe. Kale told me its people once believed isolation was safety. Humanity, it said, had the opposite flaw, connection without caution. You burn brightly, Kale said one night, but you burn without shields. Somewhere between shared silence and cautious conversation, my fear softened. Kale was not a monster. It was a traveler stranded in a place it didn't fully understand. Just like me most days. The middle came with consequences. On the third night, the sky above the city shimmered with unfamiliar lights. Kale stiffened, its crest glowing brighter. They have arrived, it said. Your people? I asked. Yes. And others. That was when the truth emerged. Kale was not merely an envoy, it was a defector. The Thurin collective was divided. Some believed humanity should be guided. Others believed Earth should be neutralized before it became a threat. Kale had come to advocate for us. They will not listen to data alone, Kale said. They require context. You mean me? I said. Kale nodded. I was terrified. But when the lights outside intensified and the air vibrated with distant energy, I realized something had already changed. I had seen beyond the sky. I could never unknow that we were not alone. If someone had to speak for us, maybe it should be someone ordinary. The retrieval team arrived not as soldiers, but as observers, beings of light and geometry that hovered at the edges of perception. They spoke without words, pressing questions directly into my thoughts. Why should humanity be spared? I thought of our failures, our wars, our cruelty, and our kindness. I spoke of love, of art, of the way we reach for one another even when we don't know how to stop hurting each other. I spoke of waking up alone and realizing how much that loneliness shaped us. Kale stood beside me, silent but present. In the end, the observers withdrew. A decision postponed.